I'm back with Kirsten Miller. We are finishing our conversation from the last episode. This is part 2. Before we move on to some more specific things, let's talk a little bit more about the out-of-town people, which is near and dear to my heart because this is something I'm having to learn. I have 3 children in town and 2 out of town, and the 2 out of town, well, my daughter found out recently that she's pregnant, which makes it number 8 for us.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which is so fun because they're all 4 and under.
Okay.
So we kind of have that little small explosion happening, and that would make 6 out of town for us and 2 in town. So I am trying some of the things that you're talking about, just a consistent time to have the 2 in town over. We have Sunday evening dinners with all the family in town, and I'm trying to have some fun little snacks, like you're saying, something consistent. One of the things, just a quick side note, since we've talked about food, is the bulk bins at Winco. I tried to think of things that weren't just sugary snacks, but also maybe a treat. And so I went there and found some like little pumpkin seeds, but one of the hits, which it is sugar, he really likes raisins. And I don't know if you've ever bought golden raisins. I prefer those more than the regular. So I had golden raisins, and then somehow I had a recipe for currants, and he started calling them baby raisins because they're tiny. I had a bag of currants, and so some raisins and some seeds and just different little things to make a little snack plate for him when he comes over were fun. But then I also bought some dark chocolate covered raisins, and that is his dessert.
Oh, yeah.
For now. I'm sure it will change. But he came over this past Sunday, and he ate his dinner, and after his mom said he'd had enough bites, I told him, you know what's for your dessert? Chocolate raisins. So that's a fun, consistent thing for him, and, you know, things that he can pick up with his fingers because he's only 2. But going back to the grandchildren who are out of town, thinking through how often do you go? You said you go a few times a year. Do you plan it out a regular month? Like I go, you know, this month, and this month. And as soon as you're leaving, you're buying the next plane ticket. How does that work? And what are some things that you do besides FaceTime reading to stay in touch?
Well, Chris and Lizzie that are in Des Moines, they have 5 kids. They are 9 and under now. I've been doing it more years with them. My daughter, Sarah, and her husband that are in Huntsville, they were in the Chicago area, which is within driving distance of Des Moines. So I used to be able to do some combined trips, and that changed they moved a little over a year ago to Huntsville. And then their daughter, as I said, she just turned 2 in March. So I feel like I'm just getting going with that family, and I have more history with Chris and Lizzie in Des Moines. So I probably go 2 or 3 times a year there, and then they get back here once. So I just tend to maybe 3 or 4 months ahead to plan a trip, because I'll also check, like my co-mother-in-law goes out to visit them too. So I'll kind of say, well, when's she coming? And I'll try to get it in there. And how does it relate to when you're coming out here? So there's just kind of some regular thing. And Lizzie has said, you know, it's been so nice to have regular visits, and occasionally, like, one of my daughters has gone out there to visit with them too. So just to try to space them out so they've got somebody's coming to look forward to. And now adding in Joe and Sarah because they're going to have their second baby. So I'm going to, Chris and Lizzie, hopefully they're trying to get back within driving distance at least, depending on just where he can get work. So then I'll be able to more focus my travel emphasis on Joe and Sarah because they'll have that increasing need, you know. So anyway, so I'm still growing in it. And it's a season of things. So I wish I had more to tell you because I think the best thing's been the reading. That's my main thing. I'm not good about like sending packages or letters. I haven't really done that.
But again, it's an idea, and you don't have to do everything. But for somebody else, that might be a great idea that they're sending something regularly, like on their calendar once a month or once every other month. They're sending some little cards or gift or something.
And I'll say I have certain ladies that like inspired me as grandmas, like set an example, like, oh, I want to be that kind of grandma. And some of them are from back home, but one of them is, I've never met her, but it's Gentry Wrench. I'm Facebook friends with her, and she will post about stuff her mom does. And like, she's one of my like grandma heroes. Never met the lady, but I know just hearing them talk about the stuff her mom does when she comes. When I started to go visit Lizzie, I'm like, I want to make my visits like that. So when I'm there, I'm just like, I am doing all the kitchen cleanup while I'm there, because she's a great cook and loves to cook. And so it's just cleaning the kitchen while I'm there is just a great place for me to plug in. And I just try to be just all day long, just playing with the kids, cleaning the kitchen. We've kind of gotten a nice routine when I come. She's a very active person. Like, she's got a garden and she cooks and she does all these things. And she usually has some projects like, I want to finish the baby's 1-year photo album when you're here. So now we've kind of got a nice routine. She'll have a little list of things she'd like to get done, projects that she can get ahead on while I'm there. So we just have a nice little pattern going. Like, I just show up and I just hit the ground running, and like, I don't even hardly call home when I'm just like,
you're working harder there than you do at home.
But I mean, I love it, because when I just wish I could help her more. Sure. So when I get home and it's like, oh gosh, she got her flower bed planted out. She got her baby book done. Sometimes like she'll finish up Christmas shopping and send the gifts back with me for the other families in my suitcase. And so it's just nice to feel like I helped her get ahead on some things, because it's hard to get ahead with her husband working so much. So that's kind of what the visits are like.
It gives her a break to be able to focus on some other meaningful things, because you're spending time. And I know the blessing of having a sister in the kitchen where I'm cooking and I turn around and the dishes are done. This is amazing. Could you please just be here all the time?
And I really know, I know her kitchen now. I know where her stuff is and how she does things. And this is something else I'd like to speak. You said something at the beginning about being like a good mother-in-law.
Yes.
When I first, came out here, we just had one married daughter for a few years, it was just the one. And Nancy Wilson was doing a Bible study in her home. It wasn't a Bible study. She was writing her book, Silver Linings, at the time. So she's like, I'm going to do a ladies study while I'm writing the book, we'll talk about the chapters as I'm developing. So I went to that. That was really helpful. Like, that just set me going in the right direction on some of these things and helped me be a good mother of adult children and a good mother-in-law, because, I really try not to offer unsolicited advice, just to be very accepting, because, we have 7 kids that are married now, and each of the families is unique. Like, they have their own family culture. They have their own take on different things. I mean, in the essentials of the faith, we're very unified and the same. But just on these side issues, it's diverse. And I remember, we had our chance to try out all our ideas and put things into practice that we thought were good. It's their turn. They're making these decisions, and it's not like we did everything right. So why would I swing in there with my opinion on this thing? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. And there's so many different ways, good ways of doing things. It doesn't have to be your way.
That's right. So, and I've learned a lot from my adult children. I mean, I get good recipes from them. They do many things better than we just. Why didn't I ever think of putting my kids to bed that way? It's that would have been great. So being just respectful of this is how they're doing it. I'm going to just help them do it the way they're doing it, and I don't sit around thinking, oh, I think this family should do that or that. That's just very toxic, and that drives people away. So, I mean, this is kind of at the center of a lot of things. One of the reasons we have nice family lunches is we all get along very well, and it's not because we're all homogenous and the same. Some families are homeschooling, some are using school, but it's everybody's just supportive of each other, not prickly, not taking offense easily, not giving a bunch of unsolicited advice. I mean, of course, there's going to be friction. This kid's going to hit that kid over the head with a drumstick. That happened yesterday. But we're going to be charitable and we value getting along. We want to get along and be unified and have a good time together. So when I go visit like my daughter-in-law, I just carry that attitude with me. Like, I am just here to help you. You and Chris are deciding, and I'm just helping.
Right. I'm not here to criticize or pick things apart or tell you how I would do things. Any kind of that is left behind.
Make little comments. I mean, oh my goodness.
Which really are daggers into someone's heart. I mean, a small little comment is not unnoticed, especially by a daughter-in-law. I mean, well, to kids too, but especially when they're trying to put their best forward and show you that they really did deserve your son.
Yes. Yeah. So it
can
just
really damage the relationship.
It's so unwise. If you're behaving badly, you are driving your family away. It's just like very foolish.
Yes.
And so, be a wise woman, like be pleasant, supportive, pray for people. Don't gossip. Like I would never criticize one kid to another kid, because then they're going to think, well, when mom goes over to that person's house, she might be saying things about me. I mean, that's just foolish. So just don't go there. Like if you want a cohesive family that's in good fellowship, you have to have the right biblical attitude and understand your role. Again, like I consider myself like I'm a sidekick. Like I'm not the star of the show. They're in the hot seat. They're doing all the hard parenting, and I'm just here to cheer them on and help them out. And I remember how hard it was.
Absolutely.
And I want to say, my kids were raised, they didn't have any cousins near, not a Christian family, extended family around. So they just it was just Tom and me and the kids and, a little bit of, some family here and there. It's just radically different from my grandkids' experience. I mean, they have all these aunts and uncles. Everybody loves the Lord. Everybody's in church, playing with their cousins all the time. I mean,
it's amazing.
The out-of-town ones, they're trying to schedule. Everybody's coming in August. We did this last year. We had a cousin camp out in the backyard, got all these tents, and my son bought Pop-Tarts. And for Saturday morning, they had a fire, slept in the tents out in our backyard. And it was just so awesome, So that didn't happen just one generation. Like this all just it was just Tom and me. And now there's
now you're seeing the richness of that.
Yeah, there's 46 of us now. Wow. It was just 2.
Yeah.
And this is just over one, and it's not even done, but so much can change. So you just have so much potential there, and just be faithful, and just God's ways are good. So know his ways, being in church, reading your Bible, just do it his way and just let him bless it, because you're going to mess up a lot of things. But, there's so much grace and forgiveness in our faith. And he can just grow something really beautiful and amazing. I mean, we're just kind of amazed. Gosh, I mean, if you'd known us, that's another thing that stops me from criticizing any of my kids. Tom and I were so clueless. And I mean,
I've come a long way.
Yeah, I was a feminist atheist in college, left wing.
That is impossible for me to imagine.
Well, it's the Lord, So, so you can make huge strides. Just follow God's ways, ask his blessing. You can just transform the trajectory of your family just in your little shift here on the earth.
Faithful obedience day in and day out.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, speaking of mother-in-law, you mentioned your role has to change, and we've talked about different seasons of life, and I think that is maybe one of the hardest things when you go from a mom to a mother-in-law, is recognizing your role is done in one way and starting in a different way. And I think that's where a lot of tension comes in for some families, because mom doesn't want to let go, and it becomes a bit of a competition. The time we're specifically talking about sons and daughter-in-laws, could be the reverse. But, we're talking about, mom is now saying, I'm not the most important woman in this man's life anymore. You can't say he's mine. He's my son. I've had him for all these years. Who do you think you are? Well, who she thinks she is his mate for life that God has given him to do life with for more years, Lord willing, than you were given to raise him. And I think that attitude of recognizing your children are given to you for a time, just for a time. Cherish and just give all of yourself to that time, but recognize that once your time is done, in a sense, you are letting go and your role is changing. Now, obviously, you're not done. We're talking all about how to be a great grandma and mother-in-law and mother to adult children. But I think that tension comes from not recognizing that.
Yeah.
And you have
again,
great advice.
That's like respecting God's design of how things are supposed to work. I mean, if you're trying to insert yourself into a marriage, that's terrible. You know, like you just want to be supporting your son and your son-in-law and how he's leading his family. And you want to support your daughters and your daughters-in-law in respecting their husband. So, you know, you swinging in there with your ego and your neediness, it's just foolish.
Well, and it tears apart your relationship with your daughter-in-law, but it also tears apart your relationship with your son.
Yes.
Because you're creating a friction that he has to deal with day in and day out, and it makes him unhappy and not wanting to go and spend time with you. I mean, it's not like, oh, I would love to spend time with you, Mom. You're creating all this friction in my marriage.
and I'll say, like, it does take time to incorporate a new person into your family. Like, you're not going to, you know, it's just like all other new people, new relationships. Like, you develop the warmth and the trust over time. Like, you show them what your attitude toward them is over time in many little acts of kindness, like just calling up and going, you know, can I babysit for you this afternoon? Or, you know, it's Dollar Americano Day. Can I bring you an Americano? You got a little hour to visit. Just over time, those things just add up. And that relationship, you know, you've developed trust. Like this person supports me, supports what I'm doing, thinks about me, cares about me, loves my kids. I mean, somebody who loves your kids, you love your kids. I mean, there's another adult that loves your kids. That's, you know, so, but it takes time. So it's not going to just happen overnight, but you have to show yourself to be faithful, interested, involved. And then that just kind of just develops. So, yeah.
And as we've mentioned with making specific time for grandchildren, it's good to continue to make specific time with your children.
Yes.
So if that is something that's on your heart, kind of in your mind of, I never get to have an adult conversation with my son.
Yeah.
I have had this thought recently. I need to make that more consistent. But just a son that works in town, I'll text him and say, hey, he has to eat lunch anyway. But, you know, want to have lunch at the burger shop? My treat. You know, and then for 30 minutes or an hour, we get to just have one-on-one time and enjoy catching up on each other's lives.
Yeah.
Or when I travel to the South, I might, and again, you have to hold it loosely, because I know the last time I was there was a sundown there. I said, hey, let's go out to breakfast early before the kids are up, or whatever else he had to do that day. And we planned it, and it fell completely apart.
Oh.
He couldn't go, or, you know, something happened. I don't know. Maybe the children were up super early. Who even remembers? But you just have to hold it loosely and say, well, we tried, and we'll just visit while we feed breakfast to all the kids. Or whatever was needed.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to forget the important person, which is your husband, too. You know, it's very nice. Like, we're still not empty nesters, you know, but like it's closer and it's more like that. And it's like after being so busy raising our family, like now a lot of times it's just my husband and me. And you never want to lose sight that he is your primary person, because it's very easy. Kids are kind of time sensitive because they're little, they're growing up fast. They have a lot of needs, but you don't want to, like, the tyranny or the urgent of getting after being with grandkids, you don't want to neglect your husband, who's like your first priority. So, and that will evolve and change over time. But it's nice. We've been so busy raising kids. It's like now we're home in the evenings together.
Hello.
We're not running off to watch Logos volleyball game. And and that's a very nice part of this season too. And he's working less hours than he used to. So he's kind of developing his grandfather stuff. And he's different flavor than grandma. And I'm kind of saying, hey, you're powerful too, because
They're fun in a
I'm doing a lot
different
of
way.
grandma stuff, but you're better, like the games thing. Like he's really fun to lead the games, And I think he's looking forward to doing more like physical hikes, camping, that kind of thing. So anyway, I just did not want to fail to mention my husband because obviously he's like the rock on.
Sure.
So like he's working, he's paying for the food. He's totally on board with, having the kids over.
Yeah, helping you set up,
He
clean
helps
up,
set up. He likes
all
to
the
let me
things.
rest on Sunday. So like when we were doing the Sunday lunch thing, I mean, I would finish about 3. I'm like, I gotta go lie down. He'd start the Roomba. He'd keep the dishwasher cycles going. Anyway, I just did not want to fail to mention
support.
Tom. Absolutely, and his priorities are, when we have our family meal, I wanted to mention like we felt like I said, we weren't even Christians really the first 10 years. He has a Catholic background. His mom was a serious Catholic. He went to Catholic school. Like to do family worship, and it just felt so odd for us. Like we felt like we were like LARPing or something, So ours is simple, but before we eat as a family, like he will read some scripture, often a psalm, and he'll pray, and then we sing the doxology together, which is very beautiful. And it's very beautiful, that many voices like harmonizing.
Imagine.
And when we have guests, I think it's very cool and wonderful, and it reminds everybody like this is all grounded on the Lord Jesus Christ. This family wouldn't be who it is without the Lord. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight some of the very important things my husband
Absolutely. He's
brings
the rock
to everything.
And he's behind all of it.
And I thank him. Like I'm so grateful that you support me in all these. He's not like jealous of my time.
Right.
He's really
he
like
allows you to leave and
he's
fly
cheering
and
me
do
on.
trips
He's
and-
very supportive, encourages me, take these trips, spend your time, do all these things. So anyway, just want to give a shout out to my husband.
Shout out.
So yes.
Shout out to Tom.
Yes.
How often does he travel with you, just as a side note? Because I know he's working. He is holding down the fort.
Yeah. Well, last December we went and saw Chris and Lizzie together, which was really nice because honestly, like having 2 and 5 kids, it's like go team. It's nice to divide and conquer. I'm going to go see Sarah in Huntsville after she has her baby. And we talked about going together, but we decided instead he went in April and visited them, just him, and then drove over to Atlanta to visit his older sister. And that was really nice because, again, Grandpa's a totally different thing. And he had the best time with our little granddaughter, Chloe. And, that postpartum time, I don't think it's the best time to have your dad there. You're trying to nurse a baby. And so it's like,
you want mom.
Yeah.
Or
so
mom-in-law.
It would be fun to go together. But this way also they got 2 visits, so we may do that again.
Yeah.
It was nice to have 2 visits. He hadn't been there yet. I'd been to Huntsville in October. So it was his first time to see their new house and everything. So I'll just tell you, I'm 63 now and he's 66. So, he is a little bit headed towards maybe some semi-retirement. So we'll, these travel things will probably
things
shift
will
around.
change. And then, like you said, people come to you and you have giant cousin campouts in the backyard and he's all hands on deck when everybody's here. So he has a lot going on too to help out. So that's wonderful. Well, before we move on, we've talked about some of the other practical things I was going to bring up. I'll make sure we have them all. But before we move on from the books, we've gone a long way from the books, but some people may think, well, that's not quite my thing. I like the reading, but maybe I'm better at cooking. I love children's books. I think you should have tons of books in the house while your children are young. If you don't want to store them on, have your own giant library. I still have a small library, but I don't know if I mentioned this on here or not, but not very long ago when multiple of my kids were having children, I had quite a few books and some in boxes from us moving. And I had the idea of doing what we called a book draft, where we spread out I don't even know how many books, so many books. And we kind of created piles of like, these are all the Calvin and Hobbes, these are all the whatever. And we did a book draft where starting from oldest to youngest and then youngest to oldest, they each picked a book. And we went around and around and around and around until each family, well, they're not all families, not everybody's married yet, but everybody had their own pile that they could take home.
That is a great idea.
Which was really fun because at that time, I'm like, we don't have room for all of these books.
Yeah.
And I want to give them, instead of getting rid of them or putting them on Facebook or whatever, I want to give these to my kids. And so it helped them start their own little libraries.
That is a great idea.
So just keep that in mind if you have all these treasures and you're thinking, maybe store them for just a short time, because in a blink, your kids will be old enough to want those. And it's special memories because they read them over and over and over
that's
and
right.
over.
And sometimes they have a certain book that they, like, you would not have guessed that was a favorite, that they ask you about, like, what was that one book that, and sometimes I've still had the copy, and I'm like, why don't you just take that? Because you obviously would like to have that for your kids now or someday.
It was funny doing our book draft, because things like that came out, like, nobody takes such and such. I have to have such and such, or will you trade with me? Yeah, and that was fun to be able to.
Did you still want to talk about the library, or are we out of time for that?
No. Okay. Let's go into the library.
Okay. Yeah, because I just thought of something related to that.
She has a children's library, so we haven't really delved into that.
Well, I don't have it anymore. Did you know that? I did it about 3 years. Yes, I stopped. Yeah. So just when COVID started, like I think early in COVID, I had a friend visiting, and she just was looking at my books down in my family room, and she just said, wow, you really have a lot of really good children's books. And that just stuck in my mind, because I was thinking, like, yeah, it's too bad they're sitting here a lot of the time not being enjoyed. My grandkids enjoy them, and then when COVID started, they closed the library, they closed the parks, they taped off the playground equipment in the parks. And
it's wild.
And we have so many young families in our church community, and I was just thinking about, what are people doing with these little kids? You can't take them places. You can't take them to the park. Like, it was just sickening. Because think about people that maybe live in an apartment, don't even have a yard to get out of the house.
And they read the same books over and over and over and over.
Yeah. So just like maybe summer of COVID, I think my friend's remark about how many good books I had, and just feeling really bad for these young families, I should just start a little library. Because when COVID started, my parents were still living with us. They lived with us about 6.5 years. They just moved back to Illinois a couple of years ago, but they bought us playground equipment. Like when COVID, like right when it started, because they had like their little apartment in our downstairs faced the backyard, because it's like a daylight basement. And so we had a little fence for their dogs. And so they said, well, we want to buy you playground equipment so the kids can play, and we can sit inside the fence and see the kids and talk to them, but have distance. So they ordered, like from Costco, like a big swing set and a climbing dome and some picnic tables. So we practically had a little park in our backyard. And so I think I got it together about September of 2020. I opened up like a little children's library. So I was open. It was to people in the churches here in our denomination. So I was open like Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings a lot of the time I had it. So people could come and borrow books and play in the yard. And anyway, it was extremely fruitful season. I did it about 3 years.
Fun idea.
Yeah. And I just loved it. And it was so much like I was hoping it was okay to talk about it, since you've more focus on food hospitality, but it was like books hospitality, and the books were like the food, because it was sharing something that would bless them that I loved, and also the fellowship time. So people could come during those open house hours, bring their kids. Our kids could play in the yard, I had 2-room family room downstairs with all the books. And they could take books home, they could read books there. And it was a season when so many young families were moving to Moscow, because COVID just shook lots of things loose. A lot of men could work online suddenly. People could move. So there were a ton of new people entering our community. And so I had little business cards that said Mrs. Miller's Library on them. And I just have them in my hand at church. And if I saw somebody new, I'd go talk, and it'd be a way to go like, by the way, I have this library and I have open house, and there's going to be other young moms there if you want to come and hang out. And there's this picnic table and you can borrow books. And so I just had a really wonderful time doing it.
How hospitable.
Yeah, it was
not only
was
because
great.
you're inviting people to your home, but you're giving them an opportunity to meet people and fellowship. Brand new people from out of town that don't know anybody. They all of a sudden can meet other moms and with little kids and not feel like they're a stranger. I love different ideas for hospitality. In fact, that's one of my favorite things on here. I absolutely love food ideas. But book hospitality, I'm really liking this idea.
And there's a couple, when I decided to phase out, because it was a lot of work. Like, I think eventually I had like 85 families using the library, and plus my own grandkids were coming over. So, I mean, I was just constantly shelving books. It was, and I was glad, because then it was like, I think it's getting to be too much. And then all 6 of the gals got pregnant. I said that one year. I was like, I think, Lord, you'd led me to understand it was time.
That was for a season.
But 2 other women in our community picked up doing the library. So a lot of people had donated like book series to me, and I could pass those along to these. So it wasn't like there was suddenly no library, but my season of doing it was over.
We'll be right back after a quick message from today's sponsors. Are you searching for hands-on activities to help your kids explore the practical side of science? Look no further than your kitchen. Inquisicook blends food science and culinary arts into an engaging program that puts delicious food on the family table. Let Inquisicook do the teaching with lesson videos, reliable recipes, and assessment tools that put students on track for success. Their online platform is easy to navigate and optimized for mobile, so the learning experience can move from the classroom to the kitchen without a hitch. Inquisicook turns curious students into intuitive cooks, not just recipe followers. Say goodbye to the tyranny of the ingredients list and say hello to utilizing what's in season, what's on sale, or what's in the fridge. Visit Inquisicook.com to view sample lessons, then check out the recipe gallery to see just how crave-worthy science can be. Be a time traveler. Sail the seas with Odysseus, escape prison with Edmond Dantes, and defend the innocent with Ivanhoe. Join us at timetravelersliterature.com. Enter a whole world of story where books uncover the riches of other books, where you discuss classic stories with other homeschool students, and where you are the time traveler, appreciating the work in its own literary tradition, its time in history, and its culture. Find out more and enroll in courses at timetravelersliterature.com.
But yeah, I got to know so many young families, because sometimes it's hard for the older women and the younger women to connect and talk. So it was just like I was just there, and sometimes I didn't come down. I wasn't sitting down there the whole time, but I would come up and down and see who was there. But yeah, it was I got to know so many kids and moms, and I could see other people getting to know each other. It was a really fun season.
Yeah,
and
to be a facilitator
Yes.
is often what's needed.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have in their mind, oh, I wish such and such. Oh, I wish there was such and such. If you can be the facilitator and create things, maybe something that you want for yourself. In your case, you just saw a need for younger moms that was needed, which it's such a blessing that you put yourself and your time and your books into creating something for other people. But, even as a younger mom, just thinking through, maybe if you're lacking something in your community, well, what is something you could start?
Yeah. Again, just, what do you have to share? Like an interest in something, or a physical thing, like a nice backyard. Just, there's a lot of ways. Just think about what you have, what you're good at, and like bounded by your time, your energy, your other duties. But it was so fun. Like, one of the things I loved was, like, after people left, I would have this huge pile of books that were returned that I had to shelf. But I'd be looking at it, be going, oh, that's a good one. Oh, I'm so glad they read that. I just think about, I introduced that family to Tintin, or whatever. It was just like super satisfying. So,
that is such a blessing. When I was a mom of young kids, all we had was our local public library.
Yeah.
And no one to introduce me to new books or good authors. And so, honestly, for years, I took them to the library, and we always did the summer reading contest and got prizes and tried to incorporate all of that to develop their love of reading. But compared to what you're offering was very small and minimal. I remember thinking, I don't know if that's a good book, and trying to skim it before letting them bring it home and making sure there wasn't anything bad in there, and try to keep them in the kids section, no young adult section.
Oh, yeah.
When they got to that age, I'm just like, I need a book that tells me what books are okay and not okay. And so to have somebody who's
kind of screen the books with the same.
Can
it's
offer
true.
good advice. It's just wonderful.
Going to the public library, it's like picking daisies in a minefield. Like you're just trying to there's
mine
some
was,
awful
I'm
stuff
talking
there.
about stuff 20 years ago. Now it's even worse.
Yeah, I'm shocked at some of the things I've seen in just picture books, but
and the content for young children. We actually avoided, I think, most of that. The push to show young children just terrible things. But anyway, that's such a fun idea. Well, and just as an encouragement to young moms, even if you don't have a library or a good backyard, I remember somebody throwing out the idea of just creating a park day.
Oh, yes.
Then you can even buy a store-bought snack. Just a park day, but you being the one to plan it and pick the park.
Yes.
In fact, they do that in our community.
Yes, they do.
In the summertime, go to different parks, and it's on an email, and just all the young moms
I think that's super fruitful. That was kind of run along the same time I was doing my library, and it was just like, yes, that is so integral to getting these gals connected in. Just really fruitful. The people that organize that. Yeah.
Okay, well, jumping back into the things you do as a grandma, we have talked about your play dates with different age groups. One thing in that category is that when you have kids over to play, I know the older ones you play games and cards with your husband, but you have good toys for kids at your house. Baby toys, toy food, a bin of dress-ups, and special bins of other toys like Playmobil, Bionicles, Beanie Babies that just come out sometimes.
Okay, is that from Angie? Or yes.
And then also during school breaks, you do a pizza luncheon movie for kids ages 4 or 5 and upwards. And your home is just a wonderful hub for all the cousins, which we've talked about a lot, and everyone is growing up with lots of good memories playing at Grandma's house. So the toys, are these toys that you've kept from when your kids were young, or have you just kind of thought about what do I need to have for when kids come over and tried to collect those?
Yeah, a lot of our ones I kept, love the dress-ups. The dress-ups, it's so fun to see the grandkids play in the dress-ups that my kids played in. Yeah.
I love that.
It's really fun. And the Bionicles are from my kids, and the Playmobil are from my kids now saved. Yeah, and the Beanie Babies also. So, those are not just out. We have them in bins in the garage, so I can just control that. I have a Polly Pockets bin, too. Because, again, the more stuff that's just openly available, they just scatter it all over. You'll just be cleaning up nonstop. So I can get out a bin of Playmobil, and then I can, usually when I have the cousins over, maybe the last 10 to 15 minutes, we'll watch Shaun the Sheep or something. And I use that as well, if we get picked up in time, we'll have time to watch a Shaun the Sheep. So that everybody's super motivated to get those Playmobiles picked up. Yeah. But then I put them in the garage so they don't get stale. They just kind of rotate a little bit.
That's a really fun idea because it does keep it new and exciting.
Yes.
And for moms, that is an encouragement to keep a few things. I know for me, having 5 children, and you see the things over and over and over and over, and then they get older and they don't play with it. My instinct was hey, we're having a yard sale. We're getting rid of all the things. And I look back and think, I wish I had kept a few more of their very favorite things that they played with all the time. I cannot even imagine opening this, and it could be just a little tote that you have in the garage, but opening it and seeing all those treasures that they loved from their childhood.
Yeah, it really is fun. And I've always had yard sales. I don't like to have a real cluttered home, so I am not a person that keeps everything, but there are certain things that just bring back the memories that I have kept. We had 3 boys and 5 girls, so the boys did Legos. So a couple of years ago, I'm I need these Legos out of here because I had the Bionicles and the Playmobil were enough. And I knew that they probably wanted. So the 3 boys got together one time when they were all in town. They split those Legos up, and now I'm Lego free. Yeah, after all these years, my husband was always say, for years, he said, if you move anything, piece of furniture in the house, you will find something to tie back your hair, something to color or write with, and a Lego under any piece of furniture you move. And so no longer, we're like Lego free.
Picked up all the Legos.
I've got nothing against Legos, but they've gone to their final resting place now.
Yes. We kept the Duplo Legos, the bigger ones. And it's so fun because my 2-year-old grandson that's in town, he is playing with those. Yeah. So that is one of the things. And they came in their own little box. So as soon as he's done, we can put them in, put the lid on, and they're over to the side. And those don't get lost very easily.
Yes. Those are a little bit bigger.
Those are bigger Legos.
Yeah. And I have repurchased certain books for certain kids that I had gotten rid of that I didn't realize were special to them. I've looked for them used because it's like I didn't realize that was a special. That's what made me think of the library. Before I opened up the library, I asked the kids, like, is there any book I have that if it didn't get returned, you'd be like super sad because I'll just put it upstairs. So I ended up just giving some of the books that were real special to kids just straight to them so they wouldn't get damaged or lost. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about you having the kids into the house, but we're going to talk a little bit about the things you do outside of the house. And again, Angie's List. Isn't there like a website that's like Angie's List? Angie's Recommendations or something?
There is, yes.
Well, this one's better, everyone. She drops off dinners. This is referring to Kirsten again. She drops off dinners when I or my sister-in-laws have been at the end of pregnancy and or have a small baby. She helps with driving for all the grandkids, school pickup and drop off with my kids, different schedules depending on the year, but she's helped every single year. And she happily picks up kids from other families who live near us to help out with carpooling. She drives my sister-in-law's kids to choir, Scola, sports. She babysits for anything she's able to, appointments of any kind, date nights, etc. She has stayed with already existing grandkids pretty much any time a new baby has been born, including once for me, the same night of her own daughter's wedding. She got her daughter Sarah married off in the late afternoon, and I went into labor that night.
So yes, the phone rang about 3 a.m. and my husband said, "You've got to be kidding me." We both knew what it was.
This is where God's grace comes in. Yeah. She came to spend the night with my kids at 3:30 a.m., then hosted 40 people for lunch after church the next day. She has kept grandkids for overnight, couple night trips. She has gone to stay with and help out of town kids for a week when they have new babies. With my last baby, she spent 2 to 3 nights sleeping on my couch when he was about 3 weeks old. He was very fussy, so I hadn't slept much in weeks, and she stayed up with him for a couple of nights so I could nurse him and then give him to her and get some actual sleep. It was a huge blessing. And when my first 2 kids were babies, she used to pick them up in a stroller and take them on walks so I could have an hour to either catch up on house stuff or take care of the smaller baby. She is a very kind and generous mother-in-law. I have a wonderful relationship with her. She is not critical. She gives good advice when she is asked for it, and I aspire to be like her. So,
my goodness.
I know.
Wow.
Wonderful praise. We actually have just in our conversation talked about numerous of these points. You've talked about keeping kids for date night so that your older kids, your adult children and children-in-law can actually go and not have to pay for a babysitter. So we've talked about some of these things. There's a few more things that we haven't talked about. And I think it's just so fun to see all the different ways over the years and things change. Like you mentioned, maybe you're not doing the library anymore. Maybe you're not going and picking up strollers and going on a walk in the mornings. You're doing different things of having kids to your house, but it's just a consistent, regular thought of how can I spend time with my kids?
Yeah.
So just in reading all of those different ideas, the thing that stood out to me was just as a mom and mother-in-law and grandmother, it's so important to look at what's needed, look at your children's lives and think to yourself, what would bless them the most right now?
Yes.
What could I give? It's going to be a sacrifice if you're sleeping on their couch and taking a baby in the middle of the night so that they can sleep. But can you do that? Would it greatly bless them? Yes.
Yeah.
And then you do. Or flying somewhere to help with a new baby, or thinking through, can I take a meal? Would that help them right now? Just whatever it is, seeing how can I jump into being in their lives and blessing them.
Yeah. Well, it helps to just remember what it was like when, having raised 8 kids with not a whole lot of help. Like, we were in a church that everybody was kind of about the same age. We all were homeschooling, had big families, and trying to start a church. So, I mean, wonderful people, but we were all like so underwater that we could help each other a little bit. But so I just think, first of all, well, I was a very lazy person as a child, as a young person.
Does anyone believe this?
No, I'm serious. The Lord just burned it out of me with, having 8 kids. It's like you've developed a strong muscle. So I think that, you just build on what you've already done. So I think, getting up in the middle of the night, sleeping on a couch, I've done that for so many years. It doesn't tax me. Being in a real noisy environment is hard for some older people. Like, I wear hearing aids now, and sometimes it's like I just want to pull those out. It's like so loud, but I'm not bothered. So a lot of it is just I am used to having raised 8 kids. I'm more like tolerant of being inconvenienced or not, just kind of needing to be comfortable all the time. Right. So, I just got there in increments to where it doesn't overwhelm me, and keeping a busy schedule. Thank goodness for my phone with my timer, because I am a little more forgetful than I used to be. So I use my calendar, and I have all kinds of preset timers on my phone for all the school pickups, and so I don't miss things. The automatic. Right. So, but I just, it's just like, it's a pace. It's like running a race, and you just get used to it.
Instead of working a full-time job, you've created a schedule that is your job in a way.
Yes.
Obviously, you still have time for yourself, and you're at home, and it's not that you have a boss. You are your own boss, but you've created a schedule.
Yeah, it is my job. Like, it's my job. It's my purpose. Mm-hmm. It's my calling, and it's very good for me. Like, it pushes me along. Like I said, I started strength training it's like I need to, like, I'm carrying babies upstairs, and it's getting harder. And like, if I don't take care of my health, I'm going to become somebody that needs help instead of somebody who can offer help. So that's very motivational. I mean, if you just, like, I'm watching all these old people YouTube still on retirement and social security. We're heading into those years. And like they always say, having a strong purpose in life and being connected to people just keep you healthy and well. And I believe that's very true. And I just do have such a fulfilling purpose that the Lord's given me he's just put so many people in my life that are my primary people to call it, just it's good for me. It's not like I'm just going to be a martyr another day. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm very thankful for the Lord to give me a purpose at my age that is still exciting to me, and I can see the good fruit. It's very motivating and invigorating and keeps you going and feeling energized in what you're doing. So,
Yeah, you're serving others instead of just constantly thinking about, well, what do I want to do today?
Yeah.
And there is some of that. You have more time when you're done raising your kids, and that's kind of fun. Like, one of the things I enjoyed, I'm similar to you right now. We have just one at home, but he's in college. And so it has been such a change for me to think, what do I want to do? And I've been able to read more. I love reading. Yeah. But also things like, he mentioned to me, Mom, we should do some pickleball this summer. And I can walk out the door anytime and go do pickleball or an exercise class, like you're talking about strength training. Mm-hmm. I don't have those same constraints that I did when I had 5 little children at home who needed everything.
Yes. Yeah. And you're so easily satisfied when you've been very busy. Like Tom and I'll say this, we don't need to like have a retirement where we take lots of trips. Just sitting on the deck with a cup of coffee is just, it's so wonderful, going to bed, and just, we're very easy to please.
Right.
Like, it's been a busy life. We don't need to like do something really wowzer to like have a nice evening. It's just like, oh, it's so peaceful and quiet here. And
it's so wonderful to have those times. Yeah. But like you said, to have a fulfillment and purpose of all of those busy times with family is also a huge blessing, because not everybody has that.
Yes. Yeah. it's not the only way to live. I mean, there's many other ways that God sets people's lives up. So I'm just talking about my particular way the Lord set my parameters and but yeah, I don't want to lose sight. It's not the only way. And, people that have just a fewer number of grandkids can have a very special relationship that's just a little more in depth than mine. So I just want to say that, I don't want to discourage anybody. I just want to encourage you to look at what God's given you and just find pleasure in just being faithful. I mean, I have people that I know that are have health problem after health problem, just so hard, but they really do glorify God when you see how they've persisted under a very hard circumstance. And that's just a different way to show the glory of God and the goodness of God. So,
and their time with their grandchildren may look different than your time. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about this podcast is talking to so many different women in so many different walks of life and ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Their advice is different. One might say one thing and one might say another, and they're not opposed to each other. It's just different ideas.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying. We're presenting all kinds of fun ideas for grandmas, but you pick what works for you, and maybe you have something totally different that you do, or a totally different schedule or way of spending time with your
I've known
family.
grandmas that take a grandchild on a trip anywhere in the world. And it's that will never be me.
Right.
But that's so wonderful. That's another wonderful grandma type of lifestyle. And I'm not looking over and saying, why couldn't that be me? And I hope nobody's looking over at mine and going, I'm not doing that. It's just, Yeah.
You do with what you have, with the resources God has given you, the time that you have, and what works in your family.
Yes.
And like you said, don't forget your husband, what works with him and his schedule as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Back to the list. We're getting there. This isn't a comprehensive list, I know, but one of the last things she says is one very helpful piece of advice she's given us, and something she did well with her kids, is to make your home fun for your kids. It's good to take family vacations, and it's good to take them to the same places and build memories. It's good to do a Friday pizza and movie night and Saturday pancakes and cartoons. And so just having that idea of raising your own kids, making it a fun place. And then when they leave, they want to come back. And then their kids want to come back.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. At some point I read something from some Christian teacher about, Tom and I used to really like these, now why can't I think of Patrick O'Brien? They're about the British Navy. He wrote about 25 of them or something. Mm-hmm. And, the ships, each ship had a captain, and there were just unhappy ships that had brutal, bad captains, or just so, the concept of a happy ship and an unhappy ship really resonated with me when I read this article. And the guy said, life is like your family. It's like an armada of ships. You've got a little boat here. There's other boats around you. And if your ship is an unhappy ship, then your kids are just going to be looking, going, wow, they look like they're having a whole lot more fun over there. And I can't wait till I'm 18 and I can jump ship and get off and swim over there and go do this world. So I took that, we took that to heart. We want our ship to be a happy ship, a fun ship. And so we
That's
just
a good picture.
Tried to have affection, lots of quick forgiveness and repentance. That's key, because you are always going to be making mistakes. And when you are quick to say, I was really wrong, the way I said that was, kind of mean, please forgive me. And then they learn to ask forgiveness from you when they're having difficulties with their siblings, or it just sets your family is just, you need that. You need forgiveness, because you're always going to be making messes. And then just the joy and the fun. Mm-hmm. So the pizza night, now it's fun to see. We just started that early on. We'd watch some Rocky and Bullwinkle or Pink Panther, Beverly Hillbillies, eat some pizza. And now I think each of our households do it with their kids. And that's nice to see. And we do like to have fun. Mm-hmm. We like funny stuff. We like funny movies. Creating
family traditions is so important going back to consistency, I think that really is key to creating those memories.
Yes.
We talked about some families have the tradition of going to the same place on vacation every year.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to go all different places. But one idea is going back to the same cabin every year.
Yes.
For us, it was a camping trip and to the same spot on the same lake. And it could look different because maybe different friends or families came. There were consistent things like there was always fresh caught fish and a fish fry, and there was always camping out underneath the stars. We finally got to the point of, why are we even bringing a tent? The kids never slept in a tent.
Oh, that's great.
Because it was the South.
Yeah.
And
there must have been a lot of mosquitoes and humidity. I mean,
we didn't
know what it's
go
like down there.
Usually in the summertime.
Okay.
It was usually spring or fall before mosquitoes, and it was real hot or anything like that. So most of the time, it was just absolutely gorgeous. If you set up a tent, the kids just scoffed at it, like, why? That would just ruin. No, we're putting up cots under the stars. And so there would be cots spread out all over the campsite, hammocks slung from trees.
Oh, wow.
And it's just some of the best memories we have.
That is great.
But it was consistent.
Yeah.
And so similar things like, just family vacations, or maybe your cousin camp out in the backyard, just things like that you do on repeat. Or weekly things like the pizza night. We did the same thing. We always had a Friday family night, we called it. And a lot of times it was pizza. And it changed over the years. Seasons, it changed. Sometimes it was just a favorite. What does everybody want? We often did pizza. Towards later years, everybody got to have a week where they got to choose the food.
Oh, that's fun.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes Saturday mornings were pancakes or waffles and cartoons. I think that the idea is creating a place that your children want to be, and can you see that in them? Do they want to be at home?
Yeah.
And do their friends want to come over?
Yeah.
And if they're always wanting to leave, if they're always just like, can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Then something's missing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course, they're going to want to go and do things too.
And that could be that there's could be many reasons for that. Often it's that people don't get along. Like they're quick to take offense. They hold grudges.
They don't apologize.
They don't apologize. Boy, that'll just sour the pot and just make it really hard to stay together. People just kind of isolate, spread out. I always think of that in The Great Divorce is one of my favorite books. And the way, they thought there were all these people who've died, and you find out it's hell, but they think that when they're there, they're going to be able to meet historical figures. But then they find out, no, that guy lives 50,000 miles out that way, because in hell, people keep building houses further and further apart because they can't get along. So they're all spread out. And I mean, that is human nature.
For a lot of people.
You mess up relationships, you just withdraw, and pretty soon everybody's just atomized little units and can't come
Fractured
together.
Families.
Yeah.
Our pastor is so good about teaching along these lines, and he recently did I don't know if it was a podcast or a talk. Anyway, somehow I just recently listened to another encouragement from him. It's Pastor Doug Wilson of Christ Church. He was talking specifically about apologies and saying, I'm sorry, versus I was wrong.
Yes.
Will you please forgive me? And that is not a distinction I grew up with. And most people around me did not grow up with.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when an offense was given and you had to mutter an apology to your sister or brother, it's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. He made the distinction with saying, I'm sorry, is usually or truly is when you didn't mean to give offense. Like if you walk by someone and you bump into them on accident.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, or pardon me, versus you walked past someone and you elbowed them. You think of two brothers or whatever, you banged into them on purpose because you were angry. It's not, I'm sorry, because you're forced to apologize.
Yeah.
It's, I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong. I did it because I was angry. Will you please forgive me? Which is a true apology versus just an excuse. That doesn't really mean anything to the other person. It's not really getting to the heart of the matter. And we carry that practice all the way through adulthood.
Yes.
You see adults living like that all the time. There's never really a true apology given. It's more of an excuse or a I'm sorry with an excuse.
Yeah. Or you minimize what it was. Like,
I'm sorry, I was just tired.
Yeah.
Well, but you didn't actually apologize or ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
You just made an excuse of why you hurt someone.
Yes.
So I think true apologies or saying I was wrong and asking for forgiveness can go a long way in creating a healthy family who gets along and has joy being in each other's presence.
Yeah, because I do moderate a lot of cousin conflict, you can imagine.
Again, going back to grandma teaching.
Yeah.
That is something you have to teach little kids.
So I will, I will get the two parties over to the side and, say, no, look at his face and you look at his face. And, you need to say, and I like him to say, I'm sorry, what they did, like state the thing that they did so it's clear. And then, I'm sorry I took that bike away from you. Will you please forgive me? Yes, I forgive you. And then, okay, now you're back in fellowship. Like I'll just say like, okay, let's move on. We're back in fellowship. Yes. And that's just, we do that over and over and over again. And then, of course, I'd be a hypocrite if I wasn't ready to do the same thing. So, that is just vital. Like if anybody ever is like a little bridal shower, like write down your best piece of advice. I'm like, be quick to ask forgiveness and offer forgiveness. That is just like really, really fundamental.
Yes. And receive it.
Yeah.
Once someone apologizes, it's over. It really is.
Yeah.
Like you said, when the two cousins are fighting over a bike and one's apologized, there's no longer huffiness or puffiness over who had the bike and I'm still going to be angry and give you a little attitude. No, it truly is forgiven, just like Christ forgives us. We're done. We're not talking about it anymore, not thinking about it. We're not having a bad attitude.
And I would encourage anybody who's listening that might be a mother-in-law or a mother of adult children or grandma, if you feel convicted, like, wow, things have gone a little sideways in my relationship with that person, like it's not going to get better by ignoring it, minimizing it, hoping it goes away, time going by. Like if you have made a mess, like just be humbled, like go to that daughter-in-law and say, I feel like I've made some unkind comments that were, critical.
Yes.
It really kind of fundamentally, they were kind of criticisms. And, I realized that was not right and that I hurt you that way and that's hurt our relationship. Would you please forgive me? My goodness, you can make a comeback because of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, it's not too late. Mm-hmm. If you're not having a good relationship, it's not too late. I mean, the power of God can just lift you out of the pit if it's in the pit. And don't say, "Oh, it's too late. I give up." It's so powerful to admit, be humble, ask forgiveness, pray that relationship would improve. It's not too late to turn it around. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just make yourself do it. I think one of the hardest things for people listening that this is maybe a new concept or they didn't grow up this way or maybe they haven't taught their children this, in the beginning, it's going to feel almost like you just can't do it because there's a lot of pride involved.
Yeah.
When we first heard this idea, speaking of it kind of being the first generation of true apologies and thinking about we need to teach our kids this, I remember one son saying basically something along the lines of, I don't want to. This is too hard.
Yeah.
I like almost can't say the words.
Yeah.
Because what was behind that was a lot of pride.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't the shuffling little mumbly, I'm sorry, and you get to skate out of the room.
Yeah.
It was true repentance, truly humbling yourself, looking a brother or a sister in the eye, and just opening yourself to asking them to give you something back, which you're thinking they probably don't want to do. But now that person has to receive the forgiveness or receive the apology and say, yes, I forgive you. It was really hard.
Yeah.
And I remember just distinctly noticing that path where he didn't want to. It was hard. He forced himself to do it. I'm having to make myself say this.
Yeah.
And now that he's a young man, he will something will happen and it'll maybe a few minutes later, he'll come to me and offer a genuine apology and say, without any of that same just angst and because fighting with himself, he can do it.
It is like a spiritual muscle. Like at the beginning, it's like weak. You can barely activate that muscle. And then, once you get going, you kind of get some momentum. It's like, wow, this is good. And this is an example when I say God's ways are good, like this is one of his primary ways. Obviously, forgiveness is just like so central in our faith. And so, yes, it can be very hard. But then when you realize, wow, when I do it God's way, like there's so much good fruit, like you feel like
it's powerful. And it creates these genuine, wonderful, close relationships that you're not going to have. They're not fractured. You're not going to have that without what we're talking about.
And you learn as you go. I'm not going to enumerate them, but I made some mistakes, like that Silver Linings book. I'm like, oh boy, I had, thinking back, like as I learned better biblically what I should be like as a mother-in-law, it's like, that was bad. I did that and I don't want to do that anymore. And I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm going to maybe go back to that person. And so, but you do learn as you go and you get stronger and better. Sanctification, the Holy Spirit's working in you. You don't keep making quite the same mistakes. You've he's brought you through that.
Our whole lives. We're being sanctified our whole lives. But the trajectory of you creating those relationships, it will pass down for generations. Like you mentioned, you and your husband early on, it was just the two of you, and it didn't look anything like what your children
never could have seen it coming.
With your grandchildren. It was just an incredible blessing. So be faithful. And as she mentioned, if you're realizing, ooh, there's a lot of work to be done, just start one foot in front of the other.
And I'll say this, when your kids get older, like they tell you certain things that you wouldn't know, but I've had a couple of our kids tell me that they've had friends tell them they cannot ever remember their parents asking forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
And our kids are like,
it's common.
Wow, that strikes them enough that they bring it up. But it's not uncommon. And we're in a church that has very good preaching on these things, so that shouldn't be. But that's out there. And if that's your household, like you need to fix that. That's pretty primary.
Well, and just recognize it's going to happen every day. There's going to be bumps every day. Maybe it's not every single day, but especially if you're raising children, it is.
Yes.
But it's going to be often that you're having to say, you know, even if it's something what you would call smaller, like, oh, I snapped at you. I should not have done that. Will you please forgive me?
Oh,
that was out of line.
That just softens people's hearts and keeps those. We used to. A couple of my kids took string lessons back in Illinois. It was a husband and wife. They taught cello and violin, and they had an orchestra for students. And there were other parents driving in from other parts of Southern Illinois for this. And there were a few families from this like Holiness Pentecostal church, that very nice families. And I was like, I'm curious what their denomination. I looked it up, and they had a doctrine that you could become like sin-free in your sanctification on this earth. You could hit a point where you're not sinning anymore. I just remember thinking, how could anybody that has kids think that they can? Because when you have kids, you're going to get tested. And then I realized you have a very low view of sin. Like you've set the bar so low. If you're going to walk around thinking, man, I just got through the day without a sin, then you're not recognizing many things that are sinful. So I think when you're quick to forgive, you're just a little quicker to see the sin and name it and confess it.
Not brush it under the rug.
Not try to just like, let's all just pretend that didn't happen. You know?
Let time go by. We're never really going to confess anything.
We don't want to move in that direction. We want to, we don't want to be morbid and just walk around feeling burdened and guilty all the time. But we also don't want to just be blind to our own faults. So,
so get started and it becomes easier. It just becomes not second nature because our nature is still sinful, but it really does become instant in your mind of recognizing, okay, I need to apologize for that. I just spoke harshly or whatever.
If you set a good example of that and that trickles through the family culture, then
well, you're seeing it in your children and now your grandchildren, and it is a generational wealth in a way that is not something you can purchase with money. It's generational spiritual wealth, which is wonderful. And I love that teaching because, like I mentioned with this one particular son, but all of my kids, I can see as they're raising their own children that they're starting those same habits. They're doing those same habits with their kids. And the ones that aren't married, I can see the trajectory of they're going to hopefully carry this into their marriages where they have strong marriages from the beginning, not just a lot of stuff shuffled under the rug that we're going to have to address one day.
Yeah.
Okay, to close it, do you have a story for us from all of your years of hospitality? Is there anything funny that happened or?
Oh, no, I see that up here.
Something that was
you know what?
good to share?
I didn't actually think of one. Like I was going to talk about the library, but we already talked about the library.
Okay.
So
Well, we can skip this part because we have gone for a long time.
Okay, great.
So she doesn't have a story, although I'm sure she has lots and lots of stories. They just kind of fold into the regular everyday life.
Yes.
There's probably so many of just fun or funny or quirky things that happen. But before we closed, I did want to mention, I mentioned my in-laws earlier and just throw out a few ideas that they did for me. One of the things, if I had to look back and summarize it, that I would say is that I knew, no matter what age my kids were, that they loved spending time with my kids. And things go awry with kids. Kids are grumpy, kids are disobedient, and they still wanted them, and they still wanted to be with them and have them to their house. And they supported us. Like when we came over and we had to go and take one of them to the back room and discipline them, instead of arguing or contradicting, they, like you mentioned with your children, you're just, I'm the cheerleader, I'm supporting you. And when they come back out and all's forgiven, I'm going to hold them extra tight and give them extra hugs and we're just going to keep going. But one of the things that I always knew is that, yes, they were on our team. And I think that's super important. And some of the ideas that I was going to throw out, extra ideas when the kids are older, my father-in-law, they lived out in the country and he taught the kids how to drive.
Oh,
I did too.
Wow.
But it was such a huge thing. They would get in Papa's truck and they'd go down little country roads or in their yard.
Man, that's very special.
Very special. And he was so patient and just kind of introduced him to that. And I don't even think we heard of it the same day, but at some point we heard about how one son turned a little too sharp into the driveway and took out a mailbox. But, just flew right off his back. They just put the mailbox up and
that's great.
Put it in the ground again. It wasn't a problem. There was times that they kept our kids. One son really struggled with croup, and he ended up getting really sick, and it was probably midnight or later. And I got a phone call that he was struggling to breathe and just really having a hard time and really wanted to just go home and be with mom and dad. Maybe he was a little scared. Maybe they were scared. I don't know. And we met halfway and no complaints. No complaints that we're up at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, bringing you your child. It was just all about taking care of that child and what is the best thing for him. And like you, bringing food, they often brought delicious food to us and just freely gave gifts from what they had. And they did not have a lot of money, like you're saying, being able to take kids on cross-country trips, but they would take them camping or just regularly invite them to their house or come over and sit with the kids while we went out and did something. And it was just a wonderful thing to think about, looking back, how much that blessed me.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're an in-law, when your children are in that crazy busy time, it may not be that every single time they're telling you how much you're blessing them. I doubt I did that. I don't remember. I'm sure I said thank you and, I'm just so appreciative. But I doubt every time I was just going on and on and on and singing their praises. So a lot of times they probably did it with just just
I'm sure they knew
kindness
you
of their
appreciate.
heart.
I mean, you know it's appreciated.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they did it whether or not I was just like, you're the greatest, you're the best. And I mean, I hope I said that lots of times, but anyway. Okay. Well, we'll end there. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us so many of your tips and just advice to be a great grandma.
Well, it was my privilege, and I hope somebody got encouraged or got a few good ideas to try.
Well, I know they did. I know I did. I am just starting compared to you, and I am hoping to incorporate many of these ideas and make it a wonderful time for my grandchildren.
Well, praise the Lord. God is good.
Yes. Until next time, bye for now. One last thing, on patreon.com under Come Over for Dinner, Kirsten shares a Christmas tradition in her family that she and her husband have been doing for nearly 30 years. Her grown kids enjoyed it so much when they were young that they now are doing it for their own children. You don't want to miss this tip. So go to patreon.com and you'll find it there.